This morning, if I could have a motion or call this Finance Committee meeting to order, if I could have a motion to approve our minutes from the prior committee meeting. That motion is made by Supervisor McDevitt, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. At this point, I'd also like to allow privilege of the floor if there's anyone that would like to be heard prior. Hearing none, we'll move on to our action agenda. We have an item before us. It's item number 1. It's a Finance Committee action that's required regarding the Personnel and Higher Education Committee for action items 1A through H that are provided. Are they provided on the Finance agenda? On the back of your agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve A through H.
Thank you. That motion for A through H is made by Supervisor Garrity. Is there a second? Supervisor Frazier. At this point, is there any discussion? No? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. It's also come to my attention, and again, these are items that we don't like to do without any notification, but I was just informed that we do have a couple items that need to be addressed by the Finance Committee, of course, for you to entertain, and Supervisor Garrity has asked that he has an opportunity to explain to you why this is before you today.
Okay. We had a court update meeting the other day, and there's some things that were brought up during that meeting that we need to take action on before August meeting. And I'll try to explain them the best I can. We do have Clark Patterson is here, and we also have DPW here. It was discovered during the construction phase of the project that the amount of power being brought over from this building to the new court expansion, the way it was set up initially, it wouldn't handle the power load. So they have since they went to National Grid to ask for a second entranceway, a second service into the building, which normally they don't grant, but in this case, National Grid's going to allow the county to get a second service. So a couple of these things are in light of that. We have to get the service put in before the August board meeting, so we need to bring it up at our July board meeting. The cost, we have to get an easement, a new underground primary service, and a new county to the new county court facility. That's one of these resolutions we have to do. That cost is, I believe, $30,000. Is that correct?
It's
36 months.
it's on page 2 of the
$36,174. The cost to run the extra power from the municipal center to the court building would have been in excess of almost $300,000 to run the extra. So this is a net savings on the project, which will be picked up by the architect and engineer. We have to do it so we can make the payment to National Grid so we can get the service put in before, so we don't hold up the court project. That's the first item. Is there any discussion? Because I'll let...
Well, let me get the motion on the floor.
Okay.
Is there a motion? Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. At this point,
So, does the
discussion.
committee have any questions? Because the experts are here.
Supervisor Bramer.
I thought that when we were discussing this, I wasn't at the very beginning, but wasn't there a discussion about where we were getting our power and...
Yeah, it's coming from this building over. And when they calculated the load, I believe they miscalculated the load of the new building. So they would have had to run extra cables from this facility over, and the upcharge and the change order for the extra cables was quite expensive. I think $300,000 to add 3 extra cables. They went to National Grid, which National Grid normally wouldn't do this, and they looked at National Grid. The architects and engineers went to National Grid, and National Grid said yes, to allow you to run another service in from Route 9, I believe, right?
Right.
So it's a savings. Technically, it's not costing this will not cost the county anything in the end. But we do have to, because we are the customer, we have to make the arrangements with National Grid for $36,000. This will be picked up by another party in the future.
Supervisor Montesi.
Yeah, there is an added benefit to this, and that is that the generator and the electricity that's coming in will be separate from this building, so that in case of fire, whatever, each one will not be dependent on the other. And to me, it's a very good solution to the problem. They were going to have to drill through 7 foundations to get this wiring in, and this makes a lot more sense.
Supervisor Bramer?
Thanks. I thought that there was some other alternative. I mean, is there another option out there that we examined before and we're not?
Oh, I'm not aware of
So
that.
that we're not connecting the power from here, so that we have that separate thing. I guess that's essentially what we're doing now.
Jeff, would you like to address Supervisor Bramer's question?
Yes, the change will have a separate service and separate generator. I think what you're referring to is maybe the discussion regarding whether we needed separate generators or whether we're going to try and feed everything off of one generator. That was the primary discussion before.
Okay.
This will isolate the new section of the building with its own service and its own generator, separate from the old building. So it's better for our staff. It's more functional. I think it's an improvement.
I can't
There's an
remember
added
why we
benefit.
decided not to do that though in the first place.
Originally, the plan was that there was going to be a separate generator, but the hardwire service was going to be pulled off of the existing entrance here because there was some resistance early on. Normally, National Grid won't allow you to feed the same building off of 2 electric entrances. So they've softened that once they realized how much work it would be for us to pull power from the one entrance through the old building over to the new
Gotcha. Okay.
section.
And 2 separate generators.
Supervisor Brock, did you have a question?
Yes, have we thought about a cogeneration plant?
Should have, man.
Are there any other questions? On a serious Supervisor Brock, oh my. Are there other questions? Jeff?
Just to double down on what Kevin was saying, I passed out a resolution for new contract with National Grid. The amount is at $36,000 and change. The cost will come out initially out of the project H350. That's not on the resolution request, but I'll correct that for Amanda. So we think there's enough in the $16.5 million that was authorized originally by the board to cover this. We don't think that there's a need for anything there. The other one is authorizing an easement for National Grid. Obviously, they need an easement to cross county property, and they will own that feeder line up to the building. So that's important to get that through and to the board.
Are there any questions by the committee at this point? Are there questions by anyone else? Supervisor Montes, did you have a question, or you're good?
No, I'm
You're
just
good.
saying
Okay.
that National Grid will not do the work until they get the check. That's why it's speedy.
Okay. So at this point, hearing no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Can we amend that to include both the easement and the cost of the service? Do you mind if
That
we-
motion was made by Supervisor Simpson. You made that motion. Is that acceptable? Supervisor Strauss is the second?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the last item of business is about it changes to the intercom system for the new facility, and they've asked that we add three speakers and 3 intercoms to the system, and that's for bringing inmates into the new jail system from the Sallyport. It was going to be a manned station. Now it's going to be, they were going to have a guard at this station all the time. Now they're not going to have a guard there, and they're going to need a system where they can buzz the proper guards throughout the jail system to allow them to come in the back door. So they need three speakers, a couple buzzer systems like all the schools have, and I think the total cost is $9,105. And we need to get this wiring done ahead of time before you put the sheetrock up, and then the guys like Simpson will have a fit when he's putting the sheetrock on these facilities.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Strauss. Discussion. Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. At this point, is there any other items that need to come before finance?
Not that I'm aware of.
No? Is there any members of the public that would like to speak? No? Hearing none, could I please have a motion to adjourn? Made by Supervisor Frazier, seconded by Supervisor Simpson. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That concludes. Have a nice day.
Record.